What's up YouTube? Welcome to Oz Rebuilds. So, been trying to do this channel for a very long time, but never really had the confidence to do it, or I just kept rushing with my builds and didn't really bother recording anything. But it's about time I started. So the first one we're going to do on the channel is this 2017 VW Polo that I bought for my mum. So it's 2017. It's got 97,000 kilometers on it, and it was a cheap one that came up at auction probably last week or so. And I jumped on it, and I thought, why not? What a better way to start the channel than with this little car. So it is a car that I bought for my mum, and she has a little Jetta at the moment that we're gonna get rid of, and we're gonna give her this one. So it's not too badly damaged. It might look a bit worse than what it is, but it's anything's fixable when it's the front end on these European cars. I suppose they're pretty much bolt on, bolt off, or bolt off, bolt on. So we're going to give it a go, and yeah, I guess I'll show you the car. So that's the damage there on the front. It was actually hit in a pretty good spot because it actually didn't hit the crash bar at the front here. It went just above that and went straight into the condenser radiator unit there. And as you can see back there, it has been pushed back quite a bit. So, but not to worry, we'll get to that once we start disassembling. Other than that, it looks pretty clean. Well, it's dirty at the moment. We're going to give it a wash in a sec. But that's what I like to do with my cars first. I like to give them a full detail, or at least a good wash, just to see what we're working with. So it's not anything special, but for my mum, it's perfect. It has reverse camera, Bluetooth, and all the things that my mum wants. So yeah, we thought we'll start with this one and we'll go from there. So we'll give it a quick wash, and then we'll assess the damage a bit further. Before COVID, you used to be able to go to the auctions, see the cars just before the auction, and you can inspect them. Nowadays, that's COVID ruined all that. We can't go and see any of these cars now. We have to buy them online, sight unseen. And with that comes a big risk of getting a car that's more damaged than what you thought, and what you can see in the photos. So with this one, I've had a quick look under the bonnet, and I did see something that I didn't expect. So we'll go into that now and have a look. But yeah, like I said, it's a big risk buying these kind of cars. Yes, it might seem cheap, but sometimes I have been stung before. I have bought cheap cars that were quite good, and they have been cheap to fix. But this one, sorry, with a couple of them, I have been stung. I have bought them and gone, oh no, found some pretty bad damage that I didn't see in the photos. So with this one, there is a little bit of hidden damage, but we'll get to that. And it's not too bad, but it does look quite bad. So we'll get in there and have a look. Oh, pop this stand. Right, so as you can see there, the engine is quite crooked. It's not supposed to be that crooked. The reason being is the engine mount there. So that's the engine mount that is bolted to the engine, and then that's bolted to the chassis. So it's broken away from this engine mount here. So it's not too bad because I can replace that engine mount there. It's only 4 13mm bolts, and that engine mount will come out, we'll lift the motor up, and we'll pop it back on the new engine mount. So the reason that's happened is because, as you can see, it's gone straight into there, and it's hit that part there, and it's gone straight into the engine and hit that corner off. So hopefully that's the only part of it. I haven't seen anywhere else that it's bad, but we won't know until we go diving in under the car. So obviously there's no coolant because it's all broken. So we're going to start stripping this thing apart and see what else we can find, and then we'll have to order some parts and get this thing back together. Shouldn't take too long to put back together. We've just got to figure out what parts we need and order them and get them in quickly. Okay, so we're about to start ripping apart this front end. We're going to take everything off, and we're going to try and start this motor. We need to move it back into position onto that engine mount. It is broken for now, but we can kind of move it back into position and get it to where it needs to be. So now I want to have a chat to you guys about repairable write-offs. So this is a repairable write-off, and it is on the WOVA, which for me it doesn't matter. I really don't care because I'm fixing the car. A little piece of paper that says something that it's a repairable write-off, it really doesn't bother me. Actually, we're going to pop this on jack stands first. So we lift that front end up because we're going to have to get underneath and take this front bar off and maybe the under tray and whatnot. So we'll get it up on the jack stands and we'll keep going. So usually they're T30s, T25s is what pretty much this whole front end is made up of. So the reason why I'm wearing gloves is because there's a lot of sharp plastic here from the damage, and I don't want to cut myself. So yeah, gloves is always good. So we'll get going. We'll start taking this apart. So what I tend to do, any screws or Torx bits or anything that I take out, I usually put it back where I got it. Just makes the putting back together part a lot easier, and you don't have to go looking for screws and bits and pieces that you've lost or that you don't know where they go, and then that's where you end up with you know, a bucket full of screws that you have no idea where they go. So that's always a good thing to keep in mind. Once I take one part off, I'll pop the screws straight back in to where they belong. Now, if you can see that there, that little aluminium bit there that's popped up a little bit, we'll just grab a hammer and bang that back down into place, and that'll be fine. Now, most of these parts are broken anyway, so you think, why am I putting the screws back into broken parts? We're not going to throw any of this stuff away until we receive our new parts, our replacement parts. With the replacement parts, you don't receive any hardware, any screws, any bits and pieces that you're going to take off this one. So until you've received your new parts and pop them on, I always pop the screws back into even broken parts, and we'll leave the broken parts aside, and once the new parts arrive, we'll take all the old screws and replace them back into the new parts. We'll get onto the other side. Okay, so that's quite bent. That's supposed to be nice and straight here. As you can see from the accident, as it's pushed in the front, it's bent these little metal pieces. Now, these are quite cheap. I think they're about $23 each, so we're going to replace them anyway. We could possibly bend them back into place, but you'll never get them to where they need to be. So, yeah, we'll replace those. Now, there is some screws in here from the headlights. So, the headlight brackets, they have broken off. But the good thing about Volkswagen is they're very smart. And what they do is they'll put these two little bits in here, and same with up here where they go. And there's replacement tabs. So those replacement tabs get screwed into there, and then you've got some brand new tabs. Again, popping these screws back in. Now we're going to get rid of these parts over here. Now, we need a broomstick from Dad, so Dad's kindly donated a broomstick for us because we're going to need to get rid of the engine stand, or the engine stand, the hood latch or the hood keeper upperer. I'm going to pop that there. Oh, get rid of it first. There we go. And that will keep our hood up. Now, the reason why I'm not taking the hood off is because we are outside, and once I take all these bits and pieces off, I'm not going to receive my replacement parts just yet, so we're going to keep that hood to protect everything that's underneath until we receive our new hood, or bonnet, whichever way you like to call it. Volkswagen connectors, they're quite easy to work with. So that's connected now. Usually what you do is there's a tab there, you got to push it in first. So you got to push it in that way, press the tab, then pull it back. So we're going to push it together, press the tab and pull it back. Really, really easy, straightforward and simple. As you can see, there is quite a bit of damage there. That's the radiator, and then you've got the condenser, and they're actually quite mushed together from that big hit. And that's exactly why that engine mount's come off. Now on this side we had a bit of trouble with this one because it has the bonnet latch cable, so we need a screwdriver to get that off. I'll get that in a sec. Oops, and there we go. Again, screws for the tabs. We're going to leave all them on until we get our new parts. Now we're going to disconnect the cable, which is right here. That comes up. And we'll figure out which side comes out. It's that side. Of course it is. Okay. There we go, and we're disconnected. I'll pop this on the side that stays with the car so we don't lose it. There we go, that's done. Now, we're almost there. We've got a few more bits and pieces to undo. We might take this headlight out on the other side first. Actually, no, we're going to continue on to the front bar. We'll take that front bumper off first, and then we'll continue on to the headlight and the rest of that radiator support. This radiator support, they're all plastic, and they're designed to crumble, but it makes it easier to replace the front end. There's no welding involved. There's no no spot welds, no nothing like that. So it's all pretty much, like I said before, bolt on, bolt off, bolt off, bolt on. It makes it really easy to repair the front end of these cars. So you can take this whole front end off, including the headlights, the front bumper, radiator support, with the whole cooling assembly. So radiator, intercooler, and the air conditioning condenser. That all comes off in one complete unit, which makes it a lot easier to work on. That shouldn't be a problem. We might be able to save that grill. We'll see. If we can't save it, we'll buy a new one. However, it's broken up into 3 sections. So you've got your fog light cover on that side, fog light cover on this side, and then the central grill. So we were lucky that it's up here, and it's pretty much saved the whole bottom end of that front bar. So with our new front bar, we're not going to receive any of this. It'll just be a bumper cover. So once we receive that bumper cover, then we can transfer all these bits on to that new one. So we'll leave this intact as it is now. We'll put it aside, and yeah, once we receive that new one, then we'll sort it all out, and it should be good to go. And we'll move on back to the front end. And then there's the lower radiator hose there, and that's pretty much it. So that's this whole cooling assembly off. Now it looks like that bottom trans cooler. I'm pretty sure it's a trans cooler. That looks good. Not sure if that comes with together with the radiator. I don't think so, because it does look separate. So that looks good. It hasn't been hit, hasn't been hurt. So we'll keep that. We'll keep this whole assembly until we get our new assembly. And then if we need any screws or bolts or anything like that, we can take it off that one. So again, same thing, we'll keep it aside. Now, another important thing that I forgot to mention is that with repairable write-offs, if you're doing it yourself, especially in South Australia, I'm not sure about other states, but I know South Australia, they want photos from all the old parts and the new part. Anything you replace with a new part needs to have a photo of the old broken part and the new repair, or the new second-hand part, new part, whatever it may be. So they are quite strict when it comes to all the repairs. Usually the inspection takes about anywhere between an hour and 2 hours, depending on how excessive the damage was. So they will go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and if there's so much as a little broken clip or anything like that, they will fail you, and you won't pass. I've failed more times than I've passed first time, so it just shows that they do take care when they do inspect these vehicles. So they must be safe, especially this car. I'm giving it to my mum. I want it to be as safe as possible. So as you can see here, we've taken the whole front end off, and we're left with pretty much the engine, chassis rails. They look good. Everything else here that's left on the car apart from that is pretty much perfect. So what we're going to do is probably next episode or next video we'll lift this engine up and we'll pop it back on that mount, and then we'll try and start it, because we don't even know if this engine starts or runs or anything. We haven't started it yet. All this was pushed up against the engine there. Looks like that little plastic bit there is broken. Oh, there we go. That's got a part number on it, so we'll look that up and we'll replace that. It's just part of the intake. So we'll leave that in the rubbish pile, and we'll replace that. Everything else looks pretty good. I know, as a matter of fact, actually, sorry, the air conditioning, one of the pipes, that pipe there that goes all the way back into the firewall, and it runs all the way back behind that engine mount. So if you have a look there, next to that engine mount, because that engine mount came off, it squished that pipe. So that pipe we're going to have to replace. This is the thing that you don't see when you're buying sight unseen and you're buying online. Sorry, you're not going to see that. I didn't see it in the photos. I probably should have looked a bit harder, but some of these things you don't see, and unfortunately, it's an extra cost. So, so far so good. If that's the worst of it, I'm happy. This stuff here, this is all replacement parts that you can buy for very, very cheap, either second hand or aftermarket. And yeah, so we'll replace all that, and yeah, we'll go from there. That's all we have time for in this episode. Yeah, so we've gotten a majority of that front end off, actually the whole front end. We've taken it off, and yeah, we'll just wait for the new parts to show up, and once they show up, then we'll start putting it back together, hopefully, if we can fix that engine mount issue. Just waiting on that. That's the most important part that we're waiting on at the moment. So thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see and you want to see more of it, sorry about that sun, it's a bit bright. But if you want to see more of what I'm doing here, and if you like what you see, please throw me a like and subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell button as well, so you don't miss out on any future videos.